All right, welcome everybody to the review episode for Assassin's Creed Shadows. So essentially, what is happening right now is I am showing you that I have completed all 54 achievements in the game, and they were fun. Most of them were fun. The only one that sucked was a legendary Sumi E, which that one is mainly reliant on seasons. Each one is in a different season. Seasons take 2 hours and you cannot manually change them, which was brutal. And Brooke ended up me sitting in a bush waiting for season to be able to change, and then doing the Sumi E, going to the next location and waiting 2 hours. It was a nightmare. It literally took all day. But if you have not been a part of one of the reviews on the channel, I will do a quick rundown and then we'll just get right into it. So I will rate the game out of 10, and then I will talk about the story, the world, the gameplay, and the quality of the game. And that's about it. So this game, I thought it was good. I did not love it, right? I know some people, this game was like their favorite AC game in a very long time, if not ever, and I could not get behind it. I rated the game a 7 out of 10, although while writing more of the review type stuff, it could go down to like 6 or 6.5. And yeah, so let's just talk about the story first. We'll just begin there. So the Act 1 story was good. It wasn't bad. It was a good setup. I thought they introduced the world really well and got things going. Act 3 I thought was very good. It was better than Act 1. It was the best act, right? That is when all of the assassin stuff came into view. All of the, actual fun things were being done, and all of that good stuff, right? That Act 1 was good. Act 3 was great. Act 2 sucked. Act 2 was abysmal. Essentially, what happened in Act 2 was it introduced the objectives board. And the objectives board, I don't know how you can move this around. Okay. I'm on mouse and keyboard because I alt F4, or not alt F4, I alt tabbed into this and it does not let me use my controller after. So this board just continuously grew, and in Act 2, it basically introduced probably 50 to 75% of this board, which is fine. This one was good, and this one was good. The rest, I don't remember anything except for maybe the yokai, which was like the weird ones, which obviously are going to be more memorable. The rest of these, I hardly remember anything, because the way that this game worked, especially in Act 2, was one of these would be associated with a person that you would find up here. And like, we'll just say it's a person of Omi, right? And we go and talk to them and they're like, hey, we run up to this random stranger and we're like, hey, what's up? And he will just tell us and be like, these guys are corrupt. Go kill them all. And then it just branches this out and you just go and kill people. And that's it. We ran into numerous occasions where I went into a castle, didn't know anybody was in there, and I saw a guy with like a crown saying, oh, hey, this is like a guy that I have to kill. So I went and killed him. And that was it. Like, I have no memory of anybody other than the Templars and some of the Shimbakufu, but these were more story related and these were very good. Yeah, so that drove me up a wall. Act 2 was terrible. It took me 35 hours just to get to assassin stuff. This is an Assassin's Creed game. It took half of the game to get to that part of the story, and I thought that was not played out very well. And I will say, I play games a little slower than other people. Some people like to streamline the story. I like to do all the side stuff along with the story, and so it's going to take me longer, but still, 35 hours is crazy. Again, Act 3. So after Act 2 ended, the story hooked me from there. As soon as the assassin stuff got introduced, the story hooked me. I had a lot more fun with the game and really, really enjoyed it. Kind of from then on out, to be honest. I thought Naoe's story was good, but it didn't grab me as much as Yasuke's. Yasuke's story was more well written and rounded than I found Naoe's. personally. Now, I know some people, and I like Naoe, but I think Yasuke's character is just better. But Naoe's playstyle is better for an Assassin's Creed game. So kind of a bummer. But the world was beautiful, although it was not optimized because it caused numerous frame drops, and a number of crashes. But it was gorgeous. They did such a good job with expanding like their graphics into this game. I was in awe many times. The seasons were really cool, except not being able to manually change them. Now, I understand that manually changing seasons can, because there's mechanics behind that, right? It refreshes certain things, like loot and things like that. So, like, someone could theoretically raid a castle that's heavy with loot, manually change the seasons, and then do it all over again. They could just grind it that way, right? But when you have achievements and, more importantly, quests that rely on certain seasons, it's awful because it's a 2-hour timer to change. It's brutal. And I think there needs to be manual change, whether they introduce that later in the game so people that want to do, like achievement hunting and cleanup and stuff like that can do it much easier. But like not having it at all, I think is worse than having it, and some people, just looting the same castle over and over. Because if someone wants to play that way, let them play that way, right? There's freedom of the player. They can play how they want. Give them the option. I don't think it'd be that hard to just manually swap seasons, to be honest. That said, that also goes for day and night. Now, I also understand that one is a little harder because you cannot manually change between day and night. That one's a little harder though, because at night you get a stealth bonus. So people could theoretically just, anytime it was daytime, they just switch to night to get the automatic boost in damage. I would say that if you change it, don't give them the damage boost. And that would solve that problem of not manually changing it from day to night. Because there were quests that required and achievements that required it to be at night or during the day and stuff like that. So it's give the player the option to not have to wait half an hour. It drove me nuts. It every time that I came into that, it was why is that not part of the game, right? The other thing was needing roads was incredibly annoying at first. If you watch the entire playthrough, you understand. I was so irritated so many times because you need to use the roads. Previous AC games in the RPG trilogy, they have roads everywhere, but you don't have to use them. You can literally just cut through fields, you can cut through forests with relative ease, you can climb anything and everything that you want to get where you want to go. You can just beeline it somewhere if you really want to. This game forces you to use the roads, which, while it was irritating at first, it became better later. And I think the main reason that I think they did that is because they have events on the road, and it's hard to do that if people are beelining and completely avoiding the road. So they kind of wanted to corral you into those events, and I think that's fine. It just took some getting used to on my part. Towards the end of the game, it was totally fine, right? Knowing that I could just put my navigation thing on and be like, hey, take me here. It takes you through the roads. I get on my mount and then I auto follow that, and that saved a lot of time in certain situations. So it took some getting used to, but by the end of the game was used to it, and I thought it was good. So I know some people hated that one, so I wanted to bring that one up. The gameplay is next. So I think the gameplay was the best part of the game. I really do. The stealth was amazing. As I had auto assassinate on, and I think that is just the way to go, right? There's nothing worse than trying to stab somebody when they don't know you're there in the back of the neck and they just brush it off like it's nothing, right? So the stealth was so good in this game, and I absolutely loved it. The combat was fun, right? With Yasuke, the combat felt fun. It wasn't it was pretty easy, but we were playing on normal difficulty and not expert, so that's probably just my fault. But it was fun. It wasn't overloaded with abilities either, but the ones that they had were cool and definitely helpful, and actually let me use those abilities way more than I would, because they were pretty essential to combat, and it felt a lot more structured to me. I will say that some of the quests suck, and we already talked about the waiting for day-night cycle, so I'm just going to skip over that part. But the worst quests in this game, and I did not accomplish some of these, so you might, be a little angry that I'm technically 99% done with the game, but I don't care, because I did not want to waste 2-3 hours doing these quests where you have to kill X amount of enemies in a certain region. It's stupid. I ran around for 2 hours trying to find Ronin on the road in Harima, and in that 2 hours, I found 4. You need to kill 25. I was like, I'm not doing this. It's literally just a waste of time. It was horrible. So I think there were 2, maybe 3 of those that I did not accomplish. And I think they were just poorly designed. And one of them I found at the end of the game. Right at the end of the game. When the game should be over. I was literally on the last, I think, the second to last quest. And I ran into them. It was like, kill 100 of these people in this region. I was like, no. I didn't even want to start it. Those quests are just awful. So the other super annoying thing I found in the gameplay was switching characters. This drove me insane because it happens constantly. Throughout the game, you will get to quests where they are either Naoe or Yasuke specific, right? You run up to the guy that you need to, and it says, well, you like to be Yasuke to talk to this guy. And so then you have to go into your inventory, you have to swap to the next person, go through the load screen to load up the world again, and then you can talk to them and it starts the cutscene. From a software engineer, which is what I do for a living, I understand that the reason for that is probably because the cinematics live inside the world, right? Because when you start a cinematic at night, it is normally nighttime when those cinematics start. So I get it, right? They want to take the clothes that you have on, they basically just want to change the camera angle and disable a lot of like gameplay mechanics and stuff, so you don't run around and slice people's heads off during cinematic scenes, right? So that makes sense. And in order to do that, you have to be the right character. But I do think that there is a world that you can literally just replace the character model that you're using when they hit talk to this person. And it just swaps the model, and then it puts you into that world, and it auto changes you. Even at the end of the cinematic, if you wanted to. That one gets a little more dicey because sometimes you have to follow the person, and so you don't want to kill the immersion of like, oh, I'm talking as Yasuke, then all of a sudden I'm playing as Naoe, and then I'm talking as Yasuke, and I'm playing as Naoe. It's weird. So I understand that one, but having to constantly swap between the two was so incredibly annoying. Or the quests where like the events where Naoe is, sitting on a waterfall and she's doing her meditation stuff, or Yasuke is shooting off, he's doing mounted horseback riding, or mounted archery, whatever that would be. He's doing his mounted archer stuff. Like, being able to start those just as either character would have been better, but having to constantly swap between the two and take 10-15 seconds each time was incredibly annoying. Okay, so the quality of the game I found to be, while it was beautiful, it wasn't optimized very well, right? I have a decent computer. It hasn't been struggling with frame rate like it has in this game yet, right? I have a 3070, no problems this far, and then this game came along and I have to be on medium settings with the game running sub 60 for FPS, and many times it dropped in certain scenarios, and it was a little frustrating. I wish it ran better, but it ran well enough. So there's that. I thought the voice acting was okay. It didn't impress me, but it was never bad, if that makes any sense. It was not on the same level as, you know, Cassandra in Odyssey or Bayek in Origins. It wasn't on that level because those are memorable. I won't remember the voice acting in this game from anybody at all. It was okay. It did the job. It was not impressive. And then the last thing I have is the facial animations were pretty awful. I feel like Assassin's Creed, Ubisoft probably in general, has been using the same facial like reading technology for like facial animations for like 5 to 10 years now, and it is starting to get stale, and it is starting to show its age, especially compared to newer games that come out and they have really good facial animations. Ubisoft has not upgraded, and I think they definitely need to. It is time, and it is definitely noticeable. That was the last thing I had written down. Overall, I enjoyed the game. It was fun, but it wasn't great. We will play again. We'll have another playthrough eventually, and we'll play just as Yasuke. We might not go as in-depth as we did on this playthrough, but I will play this game again. It was enjoyable enough to play again, but it was not my favorite. It was not amazing or incredible, but it was good. And I think they have a lot of things that they could improve on this game, and it would make it great. It would. And I hope that they move in the correct direction, but we will have to wait and see. Again, 7 out of 10. Enjoyed it. Didn't love it. It was just good. So I hope you enjoyed the review. It was a lot longer than the other ones were. I kind of went into a little more depth on this one. Still not spoilery, but hopefully gave you enough, especially if you haven't watched the Let's Play at all, to, you know, really determine if you want to watch it or just go get the game yourself. But would I buy it? I would wait for it to go on sale. And I've never said that with an Assassin's Creed game, but I would wait for it to go on sale. And Ubisoft games go on sale pretty regularly. So just wait for that. Be a little patient, and then I would definitely buy it because it was worth buying, but not at full price. So thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you watched the entire series. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I hope you have a good rest of your day, night, whatever it is, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.